watching Morning at NTV.
Good morning. Welcome back to Morning at NTV. My name is Malaki Vilodera. Now it's time for us to take stock on current affairs, and the big story that you've been reacting to is the state of human rights in the country. What exactly is being done, of course, on the torture victims, especially after we saw the post-Arua by-elections chaos erupt in August. So on phone, we have Major General Minister Otafire, the Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister, who is now online to talk to us. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for making time. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Now, the big conversation has been the issue of human rights. And yesterday, we saw the Uganda Law Society come out to actually give off the state of the rule kind of report. And this was the third quarterly report that they always, kind of publish to the public. And so the question was, and yesterday, the main concern was, it's taking so long for the perpetrators of this torture to be brought to book, especially the security officials that were involved in this process. So what would be your response to that? Because we know that they've given the government and the security agencies an ultimatum of 2 months to react, lest they move in to take action themselves. What's your take on this, sir?
First of all, I've not seen the report. It's not been brought to my attention. And the position of the government and the departments responsible for security have been investigating this matter. But my take on this is it takes two to tango. I don't support security agencies torturing suspects. But I also don't support people who think they are exercising their human rights, violating the human rights of the security agencies. We are all equal. We are part in the enjoyment of our constitutional rights. When a security officer approaches you in uniform and tells you what to do, they are on duty. It's the responsibility of the citizen to obey the security officer. If the order the security officer is executing is wrong or unconstitutional and violates the rights of the citizen, that citizen should seek recourse in a court of law. You don't beat security officers, in as much as security officers are not supposed to assault or harm or injure people they are supposed to arrest, to apprehend, or when the process of enforcing the law. But if you resist the enforcement of the law, the security officers will deploy reasonable force. Reasonable force. And I want to repeat, reasonable force.
So
it's not that reasonable force which is discutable, because what I think is reasonable may be unreasonable for somebody else.
let me ask you, sir.
Let's all obey the law.
Let me ask you, sir.
All of us, me included, should obey the law.
Okay, noted, sir. And of course, that is what all the members of the public know with regards to what the law says. But when you say reasonable force, that the security agencies are allowed to use reasonable force, beg your pardon, kindly define to us what that exactly means and what it is.
Reasonable force is force that is necessary to subdue the subject of law enforcement. So if you don't want to reasonable force applied onto you in the process of enforcing the law, don't resist. Yeah, because if you resist, then you invite use of reasonable force. And I want to repeat, and I want every Ugandan to know, reasonable force.
Okay, sir. All right, sir. The other issue is that is actually coming clearly and to the fore, and I'm sure you are privy to this, is Uganda, of course, is a signatory to the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. And, of course, we know that over the past few months, especially after the chaos that erupted in Arua municipality on August, the government is accused of seemingly being tolerant to the torture that has been taking place. first in case is the government, of course, having allusions into saying that some of these torture victims are actually pretending. What's your take on that, especially now that we as the media have gone to visit this particular torture victims and we've clearly seen that truthfully they were tortured? What's your take on that? Is the government seemingly tolerant of this particular torture that happens on these victims?
The difference between you and me is that you've seen these people. I have not. The difference between you and me is that you have reports. I don't have the reports. So there is no way I can comment on this matter unless I have incontrovertible evidence that what you are saying is correct. Yes, assuming it is correct. Assuming it is correct. Should government tolerate anarchy in the process of election? No. What is the raison d'etre for these people who cause anarchy in the process of election? We are protecting our vote. But the case of Arua, when we voted in Arua, the so-called protectors of their vote were either in jail, in hiding, or in hospital. And yet the opposition won, who protected their vote. So it means the argument that you're protecting your vote is wrong, is incorrect, is unattainable, because if you could win when you are not present, it means your presence and convenience the security forces who are on duty is inconceivable. Because you won in your absence. You are either in jail, in hospital, or in hiding.
Let me ask you, sir.
Yes. Let me put this very clear.
Okay.
Yes, Castiano would agree. One, meaning the just government was justified to chase away these people and present to them and stop them from disrupting the postal election. You know? Because if the issue had been protecting their vote, how did they win when they were unavailable? If the government the system was flawed and cheating was allowed, how come we didn't win Arua?
Let me ask you, sir.
Which was previously an NRM constituency.
Let me ask you, sir, and I'm sure...
It means, in the absence of these troublemakers, the people of Arua had the opportunity to exercise their free will, and they voted against us.
Let me ask you, sir, and of course this is a letter that was written yesterday by the World Medical Association on behalf of the Uganda Medical Association, and the letter was written to the Honorable Madam Rebecca Kadaga, the Speaker of Parliament, and the letter actually stipulates and actually says and clearly proves that these particular torture victims were for sure tortured. And in case, and I will read to you what the letter actually said, is Honorable Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu was found in pain, unable to walk normally, with a swollen face and difficulty with breathing during the finding that actually they undertook on him. And this are according to the medical experts that were able to examine him. The other person that actually they highlighted in the letter they wrote to Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, the Speaker of Parliament, is Honorable Francis Zake was found admitted on oxygen at Rubaga Hospital. Of course, the other person that they highlighted on this particular letter is Madam Knight Asara and Janet Abola, who are assaulted during the chaos in Arua municipality. The other person still, and they say that this is just a few people that they were sampling and they highlighted in the letter. The other person is Mr. Shaban Atiku, who collapsed in police cells. We all saw this, and of course, even when they were being presented to court, he actually collapsed in court. So with these facts and with these confirmations from the World Medical Association under, of course, representing the Uganda Medical Association here in the country, would we still be at a point whereby we're still saying we are not sure if these victims were actually tortured?
Thank you very much. You said these people were the World Medical Association representing the Uganda Medical Association. They written a report. How you can just suppose that report with the police, the report of the police doctors and the Uganda Medical Association under the authority of the Uganda Medical, who examined the medical association, who examined Kyagulanyi and Bobby, I mean Bobby Kyagulanyi and Zake, I would be very glad if you just juxtapose those two reports, the report of the government doctors and the police doctors with the report of the Uganda Medical Association. And we put them to independent medical authorities for assessment. Because I don't know who the people who wrote this letter are representing. I can only go by the report of the official Uganda Medical Association doctors from Mulago, who went and examined Honorable Kyagulanyi as well as Honorable Zake and made a report, which, for all intents and purposes, is not yet in public.
Okay, sir, let me ask you a question.
So please, don't be the complainant, the prosecutor, and the judge in your own cause. If we have to face justice, we must listen to all sides without bias. And
when, how long will it take
that's that's my job as Minister of Justice.
Okay, sir.
Mine is to make sure every citizen of Uganda gets justice, both the citizens and those in government, the security officers and their so-called victims.
And how long will it take for us to see?
Justice. You see, justice cannot be one-sided. You have to listen to all the sides. Like the Waganda say, Tosara Gwakawara, listen to the girl and listen to the boy, and that's the only way you can keep this marriage alive. I would like to have all the facts. Then I can make a reasonable presentation to the people of Uganda.
Let me ask you, sir. Okay, we totally hear you, but my other question before I let you go is, how long will it take before we get a clean and clear report on this particular happening?
Thank you very much.
Yes.
You see, not every department of government that is involved in this is under my jurisdiction. I wait for other departments of government to do their duty in order for them to give me information on which to act. You can't say how long. No, they have their reasons why they have not made their report. Maybe they are waiting for a report of where Zake and Kyagulanyi have gone for treatment. They would like to look at what other people in other dispensations have said about these cases in order to be able to make to suppose these reports and then say, in our view, this is the situation. And then if we don't agree, if Kyagulanyi and Zake are aggrieved, they can go to court for law.
Okay, sir. I also have counsel.
They will go to court for law, and these reports will be presented as evidence, and the doctors will be examined, you know. Because I have heard of cases of members of parliament who have gone to India and have been seen shopping in Dubai, shopping in the duty-free shop in Dubai, on their lower extremities, who have alighted at the in wheelchairs.
Okay, sir.
Yes. An honorable member of parliament, honorable, who was shopping in Dubai, running around like a young girl, and alighted at the in a wheelchair. So what is from that?
Okay, sir. Of course, like you've said, you will wait on the different angles of this particular reports and then look at them from a critical point of view. But I also have Counsel Ladislas Rwakafuzi, the human rights lawyer. He also is a member of the Uganda Law Society, and he has a question for you before we let you go, sir.
Yes, senior member, I wanted to know if the charges of treason of the 33 people, or 34 now, if the charges of treason are not based on any evidence that is available in the hands of the state, and if that evidence is not available, then why were they charged? What I'm trying to say, if you do not have evidence, that these people were tortured, then how did you get the evidence that those people committed treason? Because it was in the same area, and it's the same investigation.
Mr. Rwakafuzi.
Yes, sir.
You are a lawyer. The matter is before a court of law.
But that's what you always tell us.
You are cognizant of the sub judice rule. You are a lawyer. The matter is before a court of law. You are aware of the sub judice rule. And I am, unfortunately, the current Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Yes. What do you expect of me?
No, you know, this matter...
No, there are no two ways. I can't eat my cake and have it.
Okay, sir. All right. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Of course, like
but
you
the
mentioned...
sub judice rule does not apply in this matter. You see,
you are imputing that there is no evidence.
The sub judice rule...
The responsibility of the court of law to say there is no evidence, we dismiss this case.
Yeah, but you see...
Mr. Rwakafuzi, with due respect.
Yes, but you see...
The court of law.
You are saying it...
There is evidence or there is no evidence.
No.
I can see you.
You know, for example, Chagulanyi and Zake, before they went out of the country, they were examined by the government doctors. So what's their take? Are they saying that these people are never tortured?
The government doctors did not refer them abroad. At least I can say with that certainly. The government doctors refused to refer them abroad. Chagulanyi and Zake went on their own volition. They have their money, they are members of parliament.
Yes.
They are entitled to freedom of movement once they are on bail.
Yes, but what was their conclusion? Were they saying that they were not tortured?
The fact that the medical doctors never referred them abroad means I am not a doctor. Yes. But the implication for a layman like me is that there is no need for these people to go for further treatment.
Yeah, but does it mean that they were not tortured? Because you see, many people are tortured here and treated here.
You see, you are the difference between you and me, understanding of torture is that if reasonable force has been used on somebody, there could be bruises. There is a difference between subduing somebody and torturing somebody, to extract information. So I would like to ask the court also law, and then, everybody tells their story of what happened. Because there is a difference between subduing me in the process of apprehension and then torturing me when I'm in the hand, when I've already been tortured.
Okay, sir. All right.
Okay. If you want to torture somebody, then that is criminal.
Okay, sir.
But you see, that's what, you see, Mr. Otafire, when you went to the bush, I was here at campus. And you said you are going to fight what Obote was doing. And I can assure you, those very words you are using were being used by Ruliza Kirunda. They were saying that the people who are claiming to be killed in Ruwero, it is not true. And now you are repeating the same cycle. Why can't you be humble?
Okay,
what happened? No. Let me tell you.
And justice,
recently, the police decided to close Nalufenya. Wasn't that an admission that things had gone out of hand? What is wrong with just admitting and saying, look here, this was wrong, we shall not repeat it, and let's do better from now on. But it's really, you cannot argue eclectically and confuse people. Okay, but the truth of the matter is people are being tortured.
Okay, Council.
Major Rwakafuzi,
yes.
Let me put this to you. That's the responsibility of government to maintain law and order. In the process of maintaining law and order, certain mistakes could be made, but certain mistakes could be perceived have been made. If it were you, and people stoned the convoy of the head of state, which is a declaration of war, and you were in the security forces, what would you have done?
Who stoned it? You see.
Okay. I think we
now.
I think.
You see, actually, that thing is a concoction. The stoning of the vehicle is a concoction.
Rwakafuzi.
Yes.
The law says that if you convene a gathering and that gathering becomes anarchical, the convener takes responsibility.
Okay.
You who convened the government, read the law.
Major General.
If I convene a gathering and that gathering becomes disorderly, causes breach of peace, I, the convener, takes responsibility.
Major General Kahinda Otafire, thank you so much for joining us. But before we let you go, we truly hear you and we hear your sentiments. Of course, we'll follow through with this particular investigations. And like you're saying, that you are on top of things. But in terms of transparency and accountability, what would you tell the viewers today?
I would want to tell the viewers and to assure them that anybody found to have breached the law should be punished and will be punished.
Will be punished.
If the security forces did, we shall punish them. But we cannot punish them until we have incontrovertible evidence that they acted outside their mandate.
Okay, sir.
Can I ask you only one last
Thank you so
question?
much. We
One
have
last
to let
question.
you go. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for allowing us to have a conversation with you on call today morning. Do have yourself a blessed day. Thank you, sir. Back in studios.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the
I
show.
want to tell him.
Yes.
I was in Mitiana this Sunday, this Sunday, the beginning of this week. I met 7 people who were shot at close range by police in uniform on a government vehicle. The police deliberately, you know, they chased this vehicle of young men and women who are going to watch a football match. Now, these people, they didn't know that the police was chasing them. So they thought it was maybe another vehicle and that kind of thing. So they tried to go by the side of the road. The police came. What they did is to shoot the tires. So the tires collapsed, and they shot the tank of the taxi, the fuel tank, meaning that deliberately they wanted to alight that vehicle so that people in there burn. But luckily, it was a diesel vehicle, so it could not burn. Then, at close range, they saw those people there. People were shouting, "Look here, we are going for a football match. This is our whistle." At close range, they started showering the vehicle. You know, so I mean, really, you cannot say that Kahindo Otafire doesn't know these things. You cannot tell me, because the RDCs, the police, all those people are involved. So these things are known. It's not new.
Let me ask you, during the State of the Rule of Law report yesterday, the one that the Uganda Law Society actually released to the public, you actually mentioned that you're giving the government and its agencies an ultimatum of 2 months to investigate into this torture issues and bring to book them that are found guilty. But in your opinion, of course, according to what actually General Kahindo Otafire is saying, is that it will take time and they cannot bring to book any person until clear and concrete investigations are done. So according to the law and what the law provides, how long should investigations ideally take?
As far as I'm concerned, they are not interested in finding people who are culpable in these matters. They want to shield them, they want to hide them, and it would mean that actually they were acting on orders to do what they did. And that's why they will not be punished. Otherwise, you cannot tell me that you can have a complete file for charges of treason with the various police statements, and meaning that there has been some bit of investigation, but you have no investigations as to the torture at all. It means they are not interested in that. You
actually threatened to institute a private prosecution in the event that these delays happen. Let us in on that, and is the law acceptable of that particular move?
The law is acceptable. The law allows, in matters of torture, to carry out a private investigation. I mean, a private prosecution. The law itself has a lot of impediments along the way. You must get the permission of the LOC, the local council, and that kind of thing. Actually, the many times I've tried to do it in these cases of torture, I've hit a dead end. So it was a problem when they were making the Anti-Torture Act. They got certain provisions from the Magistrates Courts Act, which was 1970, and they brought them to enforce a law post the 1995 Constitution, which was a problem. So there are those impediments in carrying out these things. But if you are lucky to get a local authority to give you the permission, then it is possible.
Okay, then what next? What are we likely to see with regards to the Uganda Law Society coming through in this particular situation? What should we expect to see in the coming days?
The Uganda Law Society is going to do a lot, and it has instructed many lawyers in different areas to take on individual people, both in civil and private prosecutions. And some of those civil cases, we are already filing them, and we're including the personnel, the police or the military that participate in the torture of the people. So we are all acting under the umbrella of our society.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We're expecting Bobby Wine to touch down. Of course, tomorrow is the tentative date that we've been given. In your view, as a council, what are we likely to see?
They call it more fish to fry. I can assure you the coming of Bobby Wine is going to give us more work. A lot of work. Many people will be beaten.
You think so?
Yeah, many people will be beaten. Many people will be beaten and tortured and others arrested because the government does not want opposition, serious opposition to it.
But as a lawyer, what would you advise the fans and the supporters of Robert Kyagulanyi in terms of them being careful and staying and sticking to the right side of the law? What would you advise them?
Unless they don't go there. You see, if they don't go there at all, because you see, in most cases, I can assure you, because I have done research on these things and I'm always in court, in most cases, the people are very peaceful. It is government that does not want them to assemble. See, people are very peaceful. So it is in that, it is a lawful act for people to go to Entebbe and to make sure that they give a warm welcome to the person they support, they love. It is peaceful, they will do it peacefully, but the government will tell them, they will give them so many orders, do not come, they can tell them to not to come to the airport, that they will meet in Ictoro, or then even Ictoro they will say you can meet at Abaita and that kind of thing. It is going to be so confusing.
Okay.
And with those orders, anything can happen. They will beat them.
So what you're saying is people need to just stay home.
I think so.
Okay.
Just stay home if you want.
All right, sir. Okay, we hear you. So actually coming from a council, the viewers have heard you. Thank you so much for making time. Thank you so much for coming in studio. It's always a pleasure to have you. That has been the discussion. The hashtag is morning@NTV. That's on Twitter. You can also stream us live and drop in your comments. NTV Uganda, that's on Facebook and YouTube pages. Drop them in. We'll be sure to sample them and look at them because that is what informs, of course, our discussions every single morning. Keep it here. Morning@NTV still continues.